We'll dive right in. Well, thank you everybody for joining me today for HandsOn Connect University. HandsOn Connect Cloud Solutions is excited to be able to provide any and all of the digital solutions you need, whether it's with our flagship volunteer management product, HandsOn Connect, which we'll be talking about today, or gaining additional insight and training with these HandsOn Connect University sessions, or learning about our partners applications through our Connect Exchange series. We also offer Salesforce implementation and configuration, custom-built applications. Additional administrative support is available through our virtual administrator services. HandsOn Connect Cloud Solutions has got you covered, whatever your needs. And just as a reminder, I'll be recording this session for future viewing if you'd like to share it with your colleagues and partners. So let's get started. We're going to be talking about choosing the right volunteer opportunity type. And my name, by the way, is Larry Deckel. I'm the product manager for HandsOn Connect. And I'll be talking to you today about the differences between the four main volunteer opportunity types that are available in HandsOn Connect, how to decide which is the right volunteer opportunity type to choose. And then I'd like to show you what the experience is like for volunteers, which is different depending on the type of volunteer opportunity you've created. And we'll also take a look at how the project types are managed on the back end, so you can see what the differences are for you continuing to manage those opportunities. And then next week, we'll look at some of the more advanced variations that are possible within these four volunteer opportunity types. We're going to move pretty quickly because we'll be only spending about 20 minutes total on all of this. So let's dive in. So how do you choose the right type of volunteer opportunity for your needs? Well, one thing we've learned over time is that different organizations manage volunteers in different ways. And sometimes within one organization, there's different types of projects that may need to recruit volunteers in different ways. You might want a group of volunteers at a specific time, like I need 30 people on Monday night. Or you might schedule volunteers in a flexible way. You need volunteers to sort of help out in the front office, and different people may come in on different days at different times. You may only need one person at a time. Somebody may only be available for 2 hours, someone else for 3 hours, and so you need a little more flexibility. And sometimes you may just want to have people express interest in something where you don't have the concrete details for it yet, or it doesn't take place in a specific location or at a specific time. What's great about HandsOn Connect is it offers tremendous flexibility in how you can recruit, schedule, and manage volunteers through its four main volunteer opportunity types. So volunteer opportunities fall into two different kinds of scheduling. The first is date and time specific. And a date and time specific schedule is used when you need a certain number of volunteers. They'll all be volunteering at the same time. So you might need 10 people to help serve meals to the homeless on Monday night from 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. It's specific as to the time, the place, and how many people you ideally would like to have. Now, when you create a date and time specific opportunity, you're not limited to one date. You can have as many different dates and times for the opportunity as you want. We call those occurrences. So this is the right kind of schedule to use if you need 5 volunteers on Monday from 6 to 8, or every Monday from 6 to 8. The other schedule type is individually scheduled opportunities. And in this type of schedule, you have a flexible idea of when you need volunteers. We sometimes call these ongoing opportunities. Maybe from Monday to Friday, you are happy to have any volunteer who's available between 9 and 5. And each volunteer may schedule themselves to come at a different time. It's not 10 people all at the same time, but each volunteer is working on their own schedule. That's what we mean by individually scheduled. And how long they volunteer can vary. You're just happy to have the bodies there whenever a person is available. A volunteer can express interest in this opportunity and either say they want to come for a specific date and time. I'd like to come on Monday from 8 to 10, or they can say that they'd like to come every Monday from 8 to 10 for the next 2 months. So this schedule type can also be used when you want to simply have volunteers express interest without having to specify where or when the volunteer activity will take place. So we've got date and time specific, we have individually scheduled. Now, each of these two schedule types has two registration type variations that changes the way the registration is handled and how you handle it on the back end. The registration type determines how the volunteer signs up or expresses interest in an opportunity, right? So we have two schedule types and two registration types for each, and that's how we get 4 different volunteer opportunity types. So let's look at the 4 variations and talk about what each is for and look at some examples of them. So let's start with date and time specific, and it has 2 registration types. The first is sign up. So you use these with date and time specific schedules to automatically sign up and confirm a volunteer. A volunteer sees the opportunity, they see when it is you need them and how many people are needed. They click on sign up and they're confirmed as long as they meet any stated opportunity requirements. You can set some restrictions and say you have to be a certain age to volunteer, or you can say you can only sign up if you have had a background check or if you've attended our orientation. And basically, the system handles everything for you. They click on sign up. If there's space for them, they are signed up as long as they meet the restrictions. If they don't meet the restrictions, they get a message saying, sorry, you can't sign up for this opportunity because you don't meet the minimum age or you haven't done your background check. The system counts how many people you need. You define a maximum number of volunteers. And when that maximum is reached, say you only have room for 10 volunteers for that opportunity, then volunteers will no longer be able to sign up, but instead they'll see a button that says, do you want to join the waiting list? And if they join the waiting list, they'll be notified if somebody else cancels. So an example of this kind of opportunity would be something like an opportunity that we're calling English as a second language. It's basically a group of 5 to 15 ESL learners meet at the library at scheduled times, and you want 5 volunteers for each session to work with them. So let's take a look at what that opportunity would look like. So here we have English as a second language. It describes what it's about and what volunteers are going to do. And you can see that we have set specific dates and times when we need 5 volunteers. Thursday, August 10th from 8 to 9. Friday, August 25th from 7 to 10. So each of these are an individual occurrence, and a volunteer can say, oh, yeah, I'd like to volunteer on August 31st from 8 to 9. There are some restrictions that have been set for this, and they're mentioned here. The minimum age is 18 plus, and we have, if there were other restrictions, they'd show there as well. So I'm logged in right now as Victoria Volunteer, and if she wants to sign up, she just clicks on the sign up button, and she's automatically confirmed. She'll get an email saying you are confirmed, you are signed up, and she'll be able to see that in her account, remove herself if she has to cancel. And the opportunity coordinator, in this case Art Trout, is going to get a notification saying that a person has signed up, and she sees a success screen saying you are signed up and scheduled to attend this opportunity. And this messaging is specific to date and time specific opportunities, telling her what's going to happen and what she should do next, and she'll get an email to that effect as well. So that's sign up for date and time specific. Now let's talk about express interest for date and time specific. So again, this is a date and time specific schedule, but this registration type allows a volunteer to express interest in the occurrence, but they're not automatically confirmed. This is used if the opportunity coordinator wants to screen the volunteers in some way. They want to know that they're interested, and then they will take a look at them or possibly follow up with them. Let's say that your organization wants some background checks to be done and you're using some external service and you want to send the volunteer information about those background checks, or check to see if their background checks have been completed, or I use it for opportunities where I want to actually interview the volunteers, their positions of special authority, and I actually want to have a little chat with the volunteer before I confirm them. So the volunteer sees these opportunities with an express interest button, and when they click on the express interest button, they see that they are pending approval for that opportunity. They're not confirmed yet, and they will get an email notification saying, hey, we've been notified that you're interested, and we will send you an email when we confirm you. Or you can also not confirm the volunteer. You could decline them, and then an email would be sent saying they've been declined. So let's look at an example where that might be used. So I have a project called Children of the Night, and Children of the Night actually works with teenage runaways who have turned to prostitution, and it's trying to rescue them from that life. So they're in a sort of a safe house. And there's a lot of screening that the organization that manages this opportunity wants to do before a volunteer volunteers with them for the first time. And so they don't let people just sign up because they want them to express interest. If they know the volunteer, they'll confirm them. If they don't know the volunteer, then they may subject them to a screening process or have an interview with them first before they confirm them. So for this opportunity, again, it's date and time specific. These are the days and times when we need 10 volunteers for this opportunity. But instead of a sign up button, we see an express interest button. So the volunteer clicks on express interest. And when they do that, they get an email saying that the opportunity coordinator has been notified of their interest, and they will find out later if they have been confirmed or declined. And the success page that they're going to see says exactly that it doesn't say you're confirmed to attend. It says, hey, we know what's happening, but we're not going to send you the details like the address and where the opportunity is until you've been confirmed for the opportunity, because the shelter is kind of confidential and we don't want people to know about it unless we've confirmed them as an opportunity. Okay, so those are the two kinds of date and time specific opportunities, full sign up or express interest. Now let's talk about individually scheduled opportunities, the flexible ones. So the first registration type is expressing interest with a schedule. And when you create this kind of opportunity, you define a schedule of times when volunteers are needed. So you might say, hey, we need volunteers on Mondays from 9 to 5 or Fridays from 9 to 12. And we need volunteers from now until the end of December. And volunteers can then express interest in the opportunity and say when within that schedule they'd like to volunteer. They basically can propose a date. So someone can say, hey, I can come next Monday from noon to 2, right? They don't have to be there from 9 to 5. They can say, hey, I'd like to volunteer for 2 hours. And I'd also like to volunteer on Friday from 9 to 10. Or they can also schedule a recurring pattern of connections. I could say, I want to volunteer every Monday from noon to 1, from now until the end of September. And so with one click, they can create multiple connections. And this is great for ongoing opportunities where volunteers basically just want to say, hey, yeah, I'd like to come and work at the food bank. Here are the dates that I'm available and would like to do it. And then the opportunity coordinator sees the dates they've proposed and can confirm them or reschedule them or decline them as they wish. Whoops, sorry, I'm bouncing, my slides are bouncing on me. Okay, so that's express interest to schedule. So an example of this is a tutoring program called Reading with Kids. And this is an after-school reading lab. It meets Mondays through Thursdays after school and Saturday mornings. And sessions take place 5 days a week. And they're happy to have any volunteer who can come in and spend some time with the kids. It doesn't matter how long they come in during that after-school session, and they don't need, you know, a bunch of volunteers, but they're happy to have anybody who's welcome. And so each volunteer can sort of say when they're available to come and work in this reading lab. So, so here's our opportunity, reading with kids. And again, we have a description that kind of explains when what the opportunity is about. And in this one, it says volunteers needed through October 29th. So that's how long I'm recruiting volunteers for. And it also says, here are the time periods I need volunteers, from 3 to 5 on Mondays, from 3:15 to 5:15 on Tuesdays, and you can define this schedule. Then when a volunteer wants to express interest, they click on the express interest button and it asks, how do you want to express interest? And they can either pick a specific date and time, i.e., hey, I want to volunteer next Wednesday from 3 to 5, i.e. one commitment to volunteer. Or if I want to do this every Thursday for an hour, I could say, okay, I'd like to express interest in a regular recurring schedule of dates. So I'm going to do that one just because it's a little more interesting to look at. So what day do I want to volunteer? I want to volunteer on Thursday, and I want to volunteer from 3 o'clock to 4 o'clock. And then I just add that as the day I want to do it. And if I also want to volunteer on Saturdays, I can make those commitments as well. By default, it's saying 9 to 1. No, I don't have that much time, so I'm actually going to make it 9 to 10 o'clock a.m. Okay. And the system won't let me pick a time that isn't in the times where you need volunteers. So I couldn't say, I'd like to volunteer on Saturday from 1 to 2. It will give me a message saying, no, that's not an allowable time. So I'm going to volunteer Thursdays and Saturdays starting now, and I just want to do it through the end of the month, see if I like it. Okay. So I'm going to pick 8/31. Let's do that in 2017. There we go. And basically, I'm going to express interest. And I'm committing myself through the month of August to go Thursdays from 3 to 4. And it says 6 connections were created because there were 6 Thursdays and 6 Saturdays. So I know I've expressed interest in 6 different times, and I'll get one email saying that my interest in all these dates have been sent to the coordinator. And we get a message to that effect. So let's now look at the last individually scheduled opportunity type, which is called express interest only. So sometimes you just want to know if a volunteer is interested in something that may not take place at a specific time or a location. In this opportunity type, you don't have to say where a location is, where the opportunity is taking place, because you may not know at this point. This is also good if you just want to find out, hey, are you interested in receiving information about becoming a board member? Right? You may not have board member trainings yet, but you just want to know, hey, what if my volunteers out there would be interested in becoming a board member? So they're not going to say when, you're not going to tell them where, but you just want to know, are they interested? So they're just expressing interest only. On the back end, you don't have to confirm these volunteers. You don't have to schedule them, though you can if you want to. So this is a nice opportunity for if you have partner organizations that want to recruit on your site, but they don't really want to track the volunteer participation because they use their own external system or whatever, but they just want to post the opportunity and see who's interested and then contact them on their own. This is an opportunity type that can work for that. Volunteers just express interest. It's not listed as an upcoming opportunity for them unless you actually schedule them. So let me show you an example of a place where I might use that. So in disaster response, often people immediately want to say, hey, I want to help. But initially, when a disaster first strikes, there are no no opportunities available. It's really for first responders. But you want people to be able to say, hey, listen, yeah, I'm interested in responding to this disaster. So in this, we've said in the description, by clicking on the Express Interest button below, you'll be added to our disaster response mailing list, and we'll send you a weekly bulletin with the latest news and recovery efforts. So I'm just saying, yeah, hey, I want to know more when you do have opportunities. And so I'm just going to express interest. And all that's going to do is create a connection that says that person is interested, and the opportunity coordinator will be notified, and then they can do whatever they want with that. They don't have to confirm the volunteer. They don't have to schedule them, but they can do so. Okay. So those are our 4 volunteer opportunity types and sort of the reason for using them. And at the risk of going over, I'm going to try to very quickly sort of show you what these look like on the back end of the site. So here is, let's look at this. Whoops. Okay, here's our English as a second language. And I can see anybody who's signed up for this. I should refresh this so we can see the person who just signed up. But basically, I can see all the connections, and we can see that they're confirmed, and all I have to do eventually is report their attendance, right? So all the connections come in confirmed status. Now let's look at our Children of the Night opportunity. So down here, when people have expressed interest, their connections show up, and we're looking at our sharing portal here. And let me refresh this page because this is a new opportunity, and we just had someone express interest. I'm just logging in as the partner that has this opportunity. Children of the Night. You can easily search for an opportunity and find it very quickly with our search feature here. And you'll see that in these, the connections, here's Virginia's connection, is pending approval. So now I could email her, I could call her, I can look at her contact record, or if I know her and I say, yeah, I want her to do this, she's one of our regulars, I'll just mark her as confirmed. And now she has been confirmed as a volunteer. If it's somebody I don't want to use as a volunteer, I can mark them as declined, and an email will be sent saying, sorry, we can't use you for this volunteer opportunity. Let's take a look at our Hurricane Valerie recovery efforts. So for this, we got a couple of people who have expressed interest previously, okay? And you can see that I've already approved these and scheduled them. They come in pending, and I really don't have to do anything. But here's Virginia, who just signed up, and notice she has no start time or end time because all she did is says she was interested, and she's in pending approval status. If I actually do want to schedule her for an opportunity, I can do it here on the back end of the site. I'm not going to show you exactly how to do that right now, but if you want to schedule people for these express interest onlys, you do set when you're scheduling them to come. I'll do that and save those changes. And now I can confirm her by hitting the confirm button. And then the last one I want to show you is our express interest with schedule. And here you can see a number of connections that are in pending status, and I can see all the times that people have said they want to volunteer. And I could just take a look at what Violet Volunteer has done. I can filter on that. Here, she's pending approval. I take a look at this schedule. I say, yep, that all looks good to me. And I'm just going to confirm all of those. That one's already confirmed, so I'm going to uncheck it and hit the Mark Confirmed button. And if I wanted, I could confirm some and not others. So those are our 4 opportunity types. And the use cases for using them. So just when you create a volunteer opportunity, make sure of what is the right type of opportunity for your use case. Do you need a group of volunteers, or you're scheduling people at different times? Because opportunity types, once they're created, can't be changed. Okay, and next week, we'll take a look at additional elements that can be added to a volunteer opportunity, things like restrictions, skills, volunteer events, private opportunities using invitation codes, grouped occurrences, and prerequisite opportunities. We'll talk about those next week, which are ways you can enhance any of these volunteer opportunities. Thank you all for coming today.